Imagining the prospect of your own death is a frightening thing. And until you experience it, I'd wager many are convinced it will never fully happen. But what if there is something else after your biological death? What if you continue to exist, just in a different reality? What we're going to present to you is part scientific theory and part speculation, but it's a fascinating thought nevertheless. So let's take you from a kitty cat to an explosion, all the way to infinite life, as we explore quantum immortality and why you may be immortal. Starting at 3. The cat. The idea of quantum immortality is based on a variation of the Schrödinger's cat thought experiment, which states that under a specific set of circumstances, a cat in a box can be considered simultaneously alive and dead. This may sound bizarre, but it's based on a genuine scientific principle called superposition. Superposition tells us that if you don't know the state of something, i.e., if a cat is alive or dead, then until you look, it is actually both. Erwin Schrödinger demonstrated this when he imagined a cat locked inside a steel box. This box also contains equipment which could kill the cat at any point. So if there was no way to tell from the outside, one could look at the box at any given moment and assume the cat inside was alive or dead. It is only when you open the box that you can determine which state the cat is in: dead, alive, or super-duper angry. This experiment mimics what happens when we observe electrons, because in many cases just looking at and measuring them changes their behavior. And if this applies to the rest of reality, it means that any given event has multiple outcomes, all occurring at once, until a certain point. But what does this have to do with living forever? Number 2. The many worlds theory. What if the cat in the box is both dead and alive, just in different realities? To explain how this would work, let's ask a simple question. If you are the cat inside Schrödinger's box, you would know for certain whether you were dead or alive. Wouldn't you? Maybe not. Because while a cat would be aware of its fate, a dead cat knows nothing, as I found out last week during quiz night. The many worlds theory builds upon Schrödinger's cat by offering a new thought experiment, and this one is pretty explosive. If it's true, it suggests that every time you die, your reality splits off, forming a new branch where you continue to live as if death never happened, thus making you immortal. But there's a good reason why it's only a thought experiment, because it would require your death in this reality to prove it. And even then, you'd be the only one who knew. Imagine you are inside Schrödinger's box, and in each individual second, you have a 50% probability of death. 1 second goes by, and nothing's happened. 2 seconds go by. Nothing's happened. 3, 4, and 5 pass, and at this point you're feeling pretty darn lucky. Well, as lucky as someone trapped in a box could be. Now imagine this experiment going on for 100 seconds. The probability of you escaping death is astonishingly small at this point. And yet here you are, alive and well. To an outside observer in your original reality, you died a while back, and you also died several more times in the realities you skipped through as you continued to die. But from your perspective, you haven't died once, because you branched off into another reality every single time. Performing this experiment is the only way we know of to prove that quantum immortality applies to human consciousness. And because it requires your death in this reality, there's a very good reason why nobody has attempted it. Also, since the result would be subjective and viewed through the prism of your consciousness, you are the only person who would know the truth. So, it's pointless. We also must point out that we're still not sure if quantum mechanics and consciousness have anything to do with each other, and that the idea of quantum immortality is merely just that, an idea. But if it was real and it applied to humans, how would it work? And at number 1, where do you go? If quantum immortality applies to human consciousness, then no matter what happens to you, whether you're struck by a car, burnt by fire, or mauled to death by angry weasels, your consciousness will survive in another of many infinite universes. But how might this work? One possibility is that your consciousness merges unknowingly with another you who's experienced the exact same timeline up until that point. So, in one universe, your family mourns you dying in a car crash. In another, it's just a normal day, and you simply stroll over to this one oblivious that you died this morning. Or perhaps you don't merge with another consciousness at the same point in time. Perhaps you jump to your infant self, or yourself in 10 years. Or maybe there's no merging at all. Maybe you split off entirely, as we said before, and it creates a whole new timeline just for you. But all of these situations are problematic, because death is rarely, if ever, a sudden 50-50 situation. Our two thought experiments both had a binary outcome. But real life and death situations are far more complex. So let's say we assume that your consciousness splits off at a certain point, perhaps when the brain is fully dead. What happens then? How could your consciousness possibly leak out of you and travel the universe? At Strange Mysteries, we've discussed in detail the theory of Sir Roger Penrose regarding our potential ability to funnel off consciousness, as he believes the very essence of the human mind could be nothing more than quantum information stored within our cells. He also thinks this information could escape our reality via something called microtubules. But at what point would this movement of information end? Is there a limit to immortality? Would a person's consciousness go on forever, or does it stop at a certain moment in time? Is consciousness something that can be permanently killed? And if you can live forever, what are the implications? What would this do to your mind, your soul, and the universe? You can find out more about this in our bonus video, The Disturbing Truth of Immortal Consciousness, which you can watch on our Patreon page at patreon.com/Strange Mysteries. This can be accessed by becoming a Patreon and signing up for bonus video access at $2 per month, which also allows you to help us decide what videos to make, find out which topics are in the pipeline, and ask the Strange Mysteries team any questions you might have about our work, our lives, or our checkered sexual past. Patreon has become necessary since, amidst the chaos of advertisers ditching YouTube due to a few nasty videos, creators like us are having our arms twisted to make ad-friendly content. But we'd rather make videos about the things that interest you, and our ability to do this relies on you. For $2 a month, we can provide awesome bonus content for each video. And eventually, with your support, we can go fully ad-free and dedicate our full videos to just the juiciest ideas, packed full of the most mind-blowing content we can find. Our Patreon page can be found at this link here, in the upper right, with the exclamation mark circle, description box, or you can visit patreon.com/Strange Mysteries and sign up there. Then you can find out what you know that just isn't true. If you don't want to donate, then it's cool, we still love you. And we'll continue to provide the best content we can under YouTube's restrictions. As you'll see if you watch our recent video which asks, is death like being asleep?